Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of July of 2022, and as we move closer to shows out there like Star Wars Andor, Tales of the Jedi, The Bad Batch 2, we're only getting closer to The Mandalorian Season 3 by February of 2023. That's really going to lend a lot of credit to what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are trying to achieve by really reviving Star Wars Legends and throwing in all the original stories into the Disney canon. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the Disney Star Wars universe is that there's a lot of things that are moving forward and being worked on at the same exact time, which, by the way, a lot of which will be announced at 3 different events: D23 and Disney Plus Day this year, this fall, and Star Wars Celebration of 2023 in Europe. So that's going to take place next year, and that's going to be the biggest event that's going to unveil even more Star Wars shows. So each event is basically going to unveil new phases of Star Wars TV series and more to come. Now that brings us to exactly what's been going on with Kathleen Kennedy. Now, we already know that the Acolyte series has been a production nightmare for her, and for Leslye Headland, and for the Disney executives that have to deal with this by contract. Now, we already know that the Acolyte sounds good on paper. I mean, it's about emerging dark side powers at the very end of the High Republic era, give or take 70 years before the Phantom Menace. It sounds nice on paper. It sounds actually rather interesting, but we know who's involved. It's Kathleen Kennedy on a full creative level, and even Leslye Headland said that this is all about detaching from George Lucas's vision and philosophy and really treating it as something new on a blank canvas that is not going to have to connect itself to the burden by achieving George Lucas's vision. That's basically what she said. So moving forward from all of this, with both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni working together on the Ahsoka series that is set to bring multiple Legend stories back to life, Kathleen Kennedy on the other end is still having issues with the Acolyte TV series for Disney Plus that is, as of now, going through more production issues once again. Now, further, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy has been getting into more trouble with Disney executives and CEO Bob Chapek over the most recent setback for the Acolyte series that has not pushed filming to begin from November until late December this time, which is making it now very unlikely for Disney to release this series by holiday of 2024. Now, of course, as of now, the original intended release date was holiday of 23. Now it's looking like it's going to be 24. But because of this large setback and how it inches closer to 2023, Disney is now beginning to move forward with shortening the Acolyte series by limiting the show down from 12 episodes to 9 episodes instead. Now, the 3 episodes that are being taken out of the project are said to have had tons of filler anyways from the main characters in the stories, and executives looked this over and decided to pull parts of the script from the Acolyte, since by contract they were able to interfere with Kathleen's project if it interfered eventually with their release schedule. Now, the Acolyte is now aiming for a February of 2024 release window, is what Disney is now hoping to do. And in response to Kennedy making another big setback, they have also lowered the budget of the show by 10% by the impact of taking out 3 episodes that were going to be very heavy on CGI work for filler episodes that would have been useless for all of them. Now, let me just pause here for a second. This is probably the first major setback that caused the Disney executives to step in, finally, right? It makes you think to yourself, what took so long? Now, when you look at Disney executives, alright, it's all about, what projects are going to serve them the best. They know that The Mandalorian is really pretty much their big show. That's their big, title that they like to promote. And then any other shows are basically what's branching off of that, the foundation. KENOBI was another foundation that they are trying to establish by letting that grow into other spin-off shows. They are already working on a Season 2 and Season 3 in the early stages, and how there's going to be surrounding spin-offs in what I like to call the KENOBI-verse, or that era that serves as the bridge between episodes 3 and 4. So there's a lot of things happening between Disney executives and, what they intend to do with Star Wars. They plan to create multiple foundations that's going to spawn multiple spin-offs, if that makes sense, like different eras. So, the thing about all of this, too, is that The Acolyte is a very risky series. That's why Disney, even before the setbacks started to happen, is that they were always on edge about whether or not the fans are going to accept this, also given that it is going to be fully controlled by Kathleen Kennedy. Keep in mind, there's no other creators, directors, or writers, whatever have you, executive producers that have a say in this. This is all Kathleen Kennedy pulling the strings on the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Moving on. So, moving from that, so far, leslye Headland is finishing up on the rewrites of the story and is planned to be finished by this October, with all of the 9 episodes that are currently planned. Kathleen has been begging the executives to bring the series back up to 12 episodes, just like Andor, but Disney is shying away from that idea now, given that the 3 episodes they took out involved very controversial plot pieces to the Star Wars lore. For the first time in a long time, executives finally intervened with the Acolyte series, and were actually able to because of the release schedule now getting shifted drastically, which in turn is going to have an impact on other release windows, of course, being shifted as well, which in turn is going to have an impact on other release dates for other Star Wars shows being handled by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni by a couple of months. As of now, Kennedy is looking for multiple directors to join the Acolyte, including director from the Loki series, who is coming on board, as well as Rian Johnson to handle a couple, and I say a couple of episodes, and how he too is in the talks to come back to directing Star Wars again, this time for this streaming series. Now, the addition of the new cutback of episodes by Disney also has a lot to do with the fact that they were going to be the most expensive episodes that moved nothing for the story at all by leslye Headland. Disney plans to get a trailer of the show out by fall of 2023. So, let's just, look at this in its entirety. When you look at the Acolyte series, a lot of fans have been very confused. Well, what is it? What is it really about? Well, we really don't know all that much about it because of how many rewrites they've been going through back and forth. We know some things here and there, little plot pieces, that it is going to have a Sith hero in the story, and yes, I think that sounds a little ridiculous to me, having a Sith act as a hero. Isn't that basically just, kind of like a gray Jedi type of situation where you're in between the dark and the light? By the way, that's not canon, by name at least. But a Sith hero that's going to actually do good things, that's what Kathleen Kennedy has planned for one of the Star Wars characters in the Acolyte series. And that, to me, I'm not quite sure how fans are going to view that. Could that very well devalue what the meaning of a Sith Lord actually stands for? I think that it's very possible. If they don't treat this very well, it could be taken the wrong way completely by a lot of fans. I think that it should just remain as is. The Jedi are good, the Sith are evil, and if you want something in between, do something else in between, but don't make a Sith hero. I don't know, maybe I'm out of, over my head on this, but I think that the Sith should just remain evil, just as they were in Legends, just as they were in the Star Wars canon. But I digress. The thing about the Acolyte also is that it is going to feature the very end and the fall of the High Republic era, basically how it went from that point to the prequels. So let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to